Welcome, warriors of the unseen battles, the architects of quiet vengeance, the masters of the storm that brews beneath the surface. You have arrived not as the weak, not as the broken, but as the force that shatters illusions, the force that dismantles the fortress of arrogance others built to imprison you. Today, you stand in the shadow of their downfall, in the silence after their pride crumble beneath your relentless resolve. This is not a tale of mercy, nor one of easy victories. This is the chronicle of what happens when the overlooked become the unstoppable, when the underestimated become the architects of reckoning. They were too proud, too certain that their power was eternal, too blind in their arrogance to see the fire burning beneath them. They lived in a world where respect was earned through dominance and disdain was the language of those beneath them. They built walls around their egos, towers so high they believed no one could breach their sanctuaries. But walls, no matter how high, are not invincible. Towers, no matter how mighty, cast shadows that only reveal the cracks within. And you, yes, you, became the storm that tore through their vanity, that turned their arrogance into a weight they could no longer bear. Remember, arrogance is a poison that blinds the strongest minds. It whispers lies of invincibility and mocks the very concept of humility. But every poison has its antidote, and that antidote is you, the relentless force that refused to bow, the spirit that would not break under pressure. When they laughed at your struggles, dismissed your efforts, and belittled your worth, they were already sowing the seeds of their own destruction. Their pride was the foundation, but your persistence was the earthquake that cracked it wide open. Do not mistake their downfall for mercy or chance. It is the result of your unwavering will, your refusal to accept their narrative of superiority. You moved in silence, sharpening your mind, honing your strengths, preparing for the moment they least expected. While they celebrated their dominance, you were gathering the pieces of your triumph, quietly, methodically, with the precision of a master strategist. This is the art of breaking down the proud, patience, resilience, and a vision so clear it burns away every doubt. Theirs was a fortress built on arrogance, but arrogance cannot withstand the weight of truth and determination. When you struck, it was not with brute force alone, but with the power of knowing your worth, the strength of your convictions, and the clarity of your purpose. You understood that breaking them down wasn't about tearing down others, but about rising beyond their limitations, about transcending the chains of their judgment to claim your rightful place. Look back on their faces when they realized the ground beneath them was giving way. The shock, the disbelief, the desperate grasping at illusions that once made them feel untouchable. That moment is yours. That moment belongs to everyone who has been overlooked, underestimated, or oppressed by those who mistook arrogance for greatness. Your triumph is the mirror that reflects their folly, the reckoning that echoes their downfall. Do not pity them. Their pride was their prison, their arrogance their undoing. You were the key, the force that unlocked the chains of complacency and shattered the walls of entitlement. You showed the world that strength is not measured by how loudly one boasts, but by how quietly one endures and ultimately conquers. You turned their arrogance into their downfall, and in doing so you revealed the true meaning of power. This is your moment. Stand tall in the ruins of their pride, in the silence that follows the storm you unleashed. Let their downfall be a testament to your strength, a warning to those who dare underestimate the fire within you. They were too proud until you broke them down. And in breaking them down, you rose higher than they ever dreamed possible. Remember this truth. Arrogance blinds, but humility sharpens. Pride builds walls, but resilience breaks them. and those who think themselves untouchable are often the first to fall. You have proven this beyond doubt. Now, carry this lesson forward. Let it fuel your journey, ignite your purpose, and steel your spirit for every challenge ahead. You are the architect of your own destiny, the breaker of chains, the bearer of silent storms. The proud fell because they forgot one thing. Power without wisdom is a house built on sand, and you, grounded in truth, driven by purpose, were the tide that washed it all away. Stand now, unshaken, unyielding. The world may still be full of those who wear arrogance like armor, but you have the sword that cuts through illusion and the strength that outlasts their folly. You turn their arrogance into their downfall. Never forget that. They never saw it coming, not because you were loud or brash, but because your strength was forged in silence, in the quiet moments when no one else was watching. They underestimated the power of resilience, the kind that does not demand attention, but instead grows like roots beneath the surface, unyielding, unbreakable. Arrogance blinded them to this truth. They believed their status was permanent, their dominance unchallenged. They believed the world was theirs to command without consequence, but the world has a way of balancing itself, and you became the instrument of that balance. You did not break them by chance or cruelty. You broke them because you refused to be broken. You shattered their pride with every step you took forward, with every moment you endured, with every obstacle you overcame. Theirs was a kingdom built on fear of losing control, on the illusion of power as something fixed and unshakable. But power, true power, is fluid. It belongs to those who can adapt, who can endure, who can rise even when the weight of the world tries to crush them. Their downfall was not a moment, but a process, a slow unraveling of certainty, a quiet collapse of arrogance that had long blinded them to the cracks in their armor. You were the unseen hand pulling those threads, the steady force unraveling their sense of invincibility. You turned their own confidence against them, showing that arrogance is nothing but a fragile mask, one that cracks under pressure and reveals the vulnerability beneath. Remember the moments when they dismissed you, when their eyes looked through you as if you were invisible, unworthy of their attention. Those were the moments you were building your foundation. While they reveled in their superiority, you were forging the tools of your ascent. You gathered knowledge, you strengthened your mind, you cultivated a quiet rage that was not about hatred but about justice. Justice for every time they looked down on you, for every time they thought themselves above you. Their arrogance made them careless. Their pride made them blind to the truth that every empire, no matter how vast, has its weaknesses. They forgot that pride can make kings reckless, that arrogance breeds enemies even in the closest circles. They believed they were untouchable, but they failed to realize that the greatest threats often come from those they least expected. You, standing in the shadows, patiently waiting for the moment to emerge, to act, to reclaim what was always yours by right of resilience and relentless effort. You broke them down not with hate, but with the power of your presence. Every success you achieved chipped away at their illusion of control. Every time you rose while they tried to push you down, their fortress weakened. They were too proud to see the storm coming, too arrogant to prepare for the reckoning they earned by their own actions. And now, as their world crumbles, you stand tall, not as a destroyer, but as a force of nature, inevitable and undeniable. Let their downfall be a lesson written in fire and stone. Pride, when left unchecked, is a prison a trap that blinds those inside from seeing the truth. Arrogance is a weight that drags the soul into darkness. But you, grounded in the reality of your struggle, fortified by the fires of perseverance, are the liberator, the force that turns their fall into your rise. You embody the truth that true power comes not from domination, but from understanding, from endurance, and from the willingness to fight for your place without losing yourself. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a new era. The fall of the proud clears the path for those who dare to stand firm, who dare to break the cycle of arrogance and entitlement. Your victory is not just theirs defeat. It is a statement to the world that no throne is safe when it is built on lies, no crown unshakable when worn by the arrogant. So hold your head high in this moment of reckoning. Know that every trial, every slight, every moment you were doubted or ignored was a thread in the tapestry of your eventual triumph. They were too proud until you broke them down. And now, their arrogance is the very thing that marks their downfall, a monument to their blindness and your vision. In the silence that follows their collapse, listen closely. That silence is filled with the echoes of your strength. It is the sound of a world shifting, of power realigning itself around truth and perseverance. They tried to bury you under the weight of their pride, but you rose through the cracks, growing stronger where they were weakest. You turned their arrogance into their downfall, because you understood one fundamental truth, that arrogance is the armor of the weak, and humility the weapon of the strong. You did not need to shout or fight their pride on their terms. You simply refused to bow to it. You let time and your actions do the talking, and in that patience, you found your power. Their empire was a house built on sand, shallow foundations held together by empty boasts and fragile egos. But you are the rock, the foundation that cannot be moved. Your resilience is the force of nature that breaks through stone. They were too proud to see it, too arrogant to believe it. But the truth is undeniable. The stronger you are on the inside, the more easily the proud fall. Let this moment be etched into your soul. Let it remind you that no matter how high the walls, no matter how fierce the storm of arrogance, the quiet, steady force of resolve will always find a way to break through. You have become that force. You turn their arrogance into their downfall. And in doing so, you have rewritten the rules of power. Never forget what you are capable of. Never forget the fire that burned quietly within you, while others basked in false glory. Your strength was never in matching their arrogance, but in transcending it. You were too patient, too focused, too resilient. They were too proud, and that was their undoing. Now, as you stand on the other side of their collapse, feel the weight of your victory. This is not just about them, it is about you. About who you are when no one is watching. About the truth you hold inside. The spirit that refuses to be crushed. You have broken down the proud because you embody the power that arrogance fears the most. Silent, unwavering, and unstoppable. Carry this truth with you always. Let it guide you through every challenge, every doubt, every moment when the world seems to lean against you. They were too proud until you broke them down. And because you did, the path forward is yours to claim. The throne once held by arrogance now awaits the rightful owner, you. Stand tall, stand proud, but not like they did, not with arrogance, but with the quiet confidence of one who has seen the fall of giants and still remains unshaken. Your story is far from over. It is just beginning. and the world will remember the day you turn their arrogance into their downfall. You must understand that the downfall of the proud is never an act of simple destruction. It is a masterclass in transformation. The arrogance you shattered was not just theirs, it was a symbol of a world that believes power belongs only to those who shout the loudest, those who wear their egos like armor, those who mistake cruelty for strength. But you rewrote that narrative. You proved that power, real power, is born in the shadows, in the unseen battles fought within the soul, in the quiet moments of resolve when giving up seems like the easier path. Their arrogance was a fortress, yes, but it was one built on sand, shallow, fragile, and unworthy of the height it claimed to reach. They boasted, they dominated, they scorned, but all the while, they failed to see the slow, steady erosion happening beneath their feet. You were the tide, patient and inevitable, washing away their foundations. You did not need to crash violently through their walls. You simply needed to persist, to endure, and to believe. That belief, that unshakable faith in your own worth, was the blade that cut through their false pride. Look closely at what arrogance really is. It is fear disguised as confidence. It is the desperate cry of those who have no true strength, who seek to hide their insecurities behind a mask of superiority. They clung to their pride because admitting weakness meant losing everything. But your strength was never about pretending. It was about facing the truth of your struggles, embracing your scars, and using every wound as fuel for your rise. You turned their arrogance into their downfall because you carried within you something they never understood: authenticity. Their downfall was a collapse not just of ego, but of illusion. They believed themselves untouchable, but their touch was brittle. The higher they climbed on the ladder of arrogance, the farther they distanced themselves from reality. They surrounded themselves with yes men, echoes of their own pride, never allowing the truth to pierce their bubble. But truth is a relentless force, and it found its way through. You became that truth. You became the voice they could not silence, the force they could not deny. You broke them down with the quiet strength of persistence, with the unyielding power of self-belief. While they squandered their energy on proving their superiority to the world, you focused on proving your worth to yourself. And that made all the difference. Their arrogance fed on external validation, but your power was internal, rooted deep in the knowledge that your value did not depend on their approval. This was the fatal flaw in their arrogance. Their power was dependent on being seen as better, while yours was inherent and unshakable. Their downfall is a mirror, reflecting what happens when the heart and mind lose alignment. Pride without purpose is a weapon turned inward, a cage that tightens with every boast and sneer. You showed what happens when purpose and resilience combine. You turned their arrogance into their downfall by refusing to be a pawn in their game, by refusing to play by their rules, by becoming the game changer they never saw coming. Remember the faces of those who looked down on you, not with sympathy, but with disdain. They did not just dismiss you, they dehumanized you, reduced you to nothing in their eyes. But you were never nothing. You were a storm gathering strength, a fire waiting to ignite. Their arrogance was the wind that fanned your flames, and your rise was the inferno that consumed their illusions. You turned their arrogance into their downfall because you saw what they never did. The true strength is quiet, steady, and relentless. There is a lesson here deeper than victory. It is the lesson of transformation. When you break down the proud, you do more than destroy. You create space. Space for new truths, new power structures, new ways of being. Their arrogance was a barrier, But now that barrier lies in ruins, and you stand at the gates of something greater. The downfall of arrogance is the birth of humility. Humility, not as weakness, but as strength refined and sharpened by struggle. You were too strong for their arrogance to contain. You were too relentless for their pride to suppress. You moved like a shadow through their world, unseen until the moment you emerged, unstoppable. Their downfall was not just a consequence of your actions. It was the inevitable result of their own blind refusal to see beyond themselves. And in that inevitability is your triumph. Let this truth be your anchor. Arrogance is a fleeting illusion. Resilience is eternal. They were too proud until you broke them down. And in breaking them down, you became more than they ever were or could be. You became a force of nature, an unstoppable tide that reshapes the landscape of power. Hold on to that. Cherish it. Let it fuel your journey forward. The proud may rise again, but so will you, stronger, wiser, more prepared. Because you have seen their downfall, you understand the cost of arrogance, and you carry within you the power of transformation. Your story is a beacon for those who feel crushed beneath the weight of others' pride. It is proof that no fortress is impregnable, no arrogance eternal, no pride beyond the reach of relentless will. You turn their arrogance into their downfall. Never forget what that means. Never forget who you are. The world will try to build new towers of arrogance, new walls of pride, but you will be ready. You have seen the cracks. You have felt the tremors. You have been the storm. You are the breaker of illusions, the unmaker of empires built on vanity. You turn their arrogance into their downfall, and that is the legacy you carry forward. Stand now in that power. Own it, because you have earned it. You were too patient, too focused, too strong. They were too proud, and that was their undoing. In the end, their pride was their undoing, an invisible noose they tied themselves with, tightening with every boast, every sneer, every moment they believed themselves untouchable. You stood firm when they faltered, steady when they stumbled, and patient when they grew careless in their arrogance. You became the reckoning they never expected, the force that shattered their illusions not with anger, but with unyielding resolve. Their fall was inevitable because pride, unchecked and unearned, is a fragile throne that crumbles beneath the weight of truth. You did not just witness their downfall, you were the architect, the quiet storm that transformed their arrogance into dust. Your victory is more than just their defeat. It is a testament to the power of resilience and the strength found in humility. You showed the world that true strength is not the loudest roar or the highest pedestal, but the unwavering persistence to rise again and again, despite every attempt to break you. The arrogance that once seemed invincible was nothing but a mask hiding fear, insecurity, and weakness. By breaking them down, you revealed the harsh reality that pride without substance is always a prelude to collapse. And in that revelation, you carved your name into the narrative of those who rise above, who conquer not through cruelty, but through quiet, relentless will. So hold this truth close. Arrogance is a poison that destroys its host, but humility and perseverance are the weapons of the unbreakable. They were too proud until you showed them what it means to be truly strong.